Hi, this is Old Buck Dell, and where's my buddy?
Old Buck Dave is here also.
Alrighty, there you
Here
go.
we are at the coffee shop again. Hey, this is nice. We're at a different coffee shop today. This one's called Cup of Joe. It's a little different. This is used to be a garage, so it's converted from a garage with the big roll-up doors. You know, that seems to be like a trend in trendy restaurants now. They build them like they were garages. But this is an actual garage. Don't you think that's cool?
The coffee's good. That's
The
the key.
coffee's good, and they've got this little room off to the side here where they let us record. So this is good. This is really
Yeah, lucky to have lucky to have a little space.
good. Yeah, I've been wondering about this for a little bit, for a little while now. I got a question for you, Dale. If
Hmm.
you could choose a superpower, all right, would you choose flight or invisibility?
And in other words, another that's my only two options.
Well, I
And
mean,
and
those are
and
your
you're
only two.
asking me that you might have needed the one of these two to get out of a jam or something,
No, no, no.
solve a
Just if
problem.
you know, just if you could have one or other of these superpowers. I mean, this is like the age-old question. I mean, Socrates used to ask this.
Well, actually,
Let me
what would I
clarify
do
for
with
you.
it? What would I do with it?
I mean, that's what I'm asking. So if you picked flight, all right, it wouldn't be like the speed of light or anything. You'd be like, say, the speed of a jetliner, all right?
Faster than a speeding bullet, able to leap tall
Faster than a
buildings.
speeding bullet, yeah, that's that sort of thing. And you wouldn't have any super strength or anything like that. You'd be able to carry with you, anything that you can physically carry with you. You couldn't carry a tank with you, but you could carry a backpack or a bicycle or something like that.
Yeah, I once wrote a story about a guy who had that power.
Oh, okay. And if you
Remember
were
that?
in, if you were, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
We should
So
get that on here sometime. If you were invisible, it'd be just you and the clothes you're wearing would be invisible. Like if you pick up
yeah,
coffee cup,
like the Invisible Man. Yeah, I saw the
yeah.
movie. I read the book
Okay.
too
All right.
years
So
ago.
that's
Great
so,
story.
so that's the big question. Which superpower would you pick, and how would you use that superpower?
Well, mine would definitely be flight, but I'd probably use it more as a prankster.
A
Uh,
prankster?
yeah, I mean, I would if I could fly or float or I
Yeah,
mean,
you could.
yeah, I mean, I could certainly dunk a basketball, or I could fly here or there. But with something like that, uh, you'd probably almost need invisibility to go with it because it wouldn't be long before the radar would be tracking you and the whole system would be find out, somebody trying to catch you and weaponize you. But if I could just fly, I mean, I did fly in a
Yeah.
very small ultralight once,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a joy. Or a balloon ride. I think that would be really, really fantastic. But to me, flight would be soaring like a bird. Oh,
Oh
man, I tell
yeah,
you, that would be.
yeah. I mean, really, that would be my choice too. I just,
I wouldn't
chance to
pretend to have the
travel
superpower.
more. It'd be like it's like freedom. It'd be like a sense of freedom. I think.
You know what I would do, Dave? I'll tell you what I'd do. You know those guys that jump off with those winged suits off of those mountains?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would pretend I was jumping off a mountain with those suits.
Jeez.
So that nobody knew I could fly, and I would just fly a lot further. You know what I mean?
Uh,
I would fly a lot further. Or if I needed to get over maybe a rushing stream, or if here's a pondering question for all the folks out there. Let's say you had the ability to fly and you were standing on the side of a swollen river, and the only way you could get to a car full of kids was just to fly out there, and then everybody would know you could do it. Would you do it? Think about that one.
wow.
Because now you would be exposed. You would have I mean, you're talking right out of comic book hero now. But
Yeah. Yeah.
if you didn't want to be exposed, you'd sit on the side of the banks with everybody else saying, "Oh no," knowing you could just slide out there and pick them up and bring them back.
So you wouldn't use your
I
superpower
don't know
for
if
the
I could make
forces
that
of good.
choice. I do not know if I could make that choice. I mean, it'd be fun to be a flying around like I was talking about, just to go places or.
Well, I mean, that's kind of an interesting point you made about being discovered and then somebody trying to weaponize you or
Oh, I'm
clone.
certainly.
I
Yeah.
actually hadn't even thought about that. That's yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of them cases where if
There's a
you wish
moral
for that,
dilemma there, isn't there?
a big moral dilemma in any kind of a superpower, including invisibility. And the great story that was the Invisible Man, it was a super excellent story, but they started tracking him down and hunting for him. And
Okay.
so,
Yeah. Yeah. I
so
mean,
I'm
I think
thinking it's a moral question.
it is. Yeah. I mean, I think invisibility. That might be nice for a little while. You'd get privacy. You can spend the night at the museum if you want to, or spend the night at the library. I don't know.
Get into a ball game for
Get
free.
into a ball game for free.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think you could be a whistleblower. I mean, you could do a lot of things. But you know what would happen down the line? Eventually, you'd get bored, and then you'd go to the dark side. I mean, I bet I bet everybody has that point. Another moral dilemma.
Another moral dilemma.
Where you're,
There's been a lot
like,
of
I'm
movies
back in
about
eighth
that.
grade now. What am I going to do? I'm invisible. What am I going to do?
Well,
Something you
wouldn't.
shouldn't
You're
be
not
doing.
always invisible. It'd be something you could turn on and off, right?
Oh no, you're invisible, buddy.
Oh, if you're invisible, you're invisible.
You're invisible.
So you're in a supermarket, and all of a sudden you see an apple go into the air, and that was the
Yeah, that's part of the
people have already
problem.
thought all
Yeah,
this.
you don't have people.
They've already thought about all this. I mean, I've seen the stories about that. Invisible Man, they wrote all this, but the moral dilemma of any kind of a power, even financial power, comes with risk,
Yep.
and that's probably the message.
Yep.
So
Okay.
it was
Anyway,
nice thinking about
that
it.
was my attempt at the high moral ground here, but
The high moral ground. Let me get another shot of the Colombian extract there for the
yeah,
coffee. Yeah, you know what I mean.
soup it up a little bit.
Yeah, let's get
All
pumped
right.
up.
All right.
Anyhow,
Well, let me think about something else here. All right. So we're talking about flying and being invisible. There's a lot of talk on the news anymore about UFOs. Do you notice that?
I I do, and I read all the papers. I mean, the stories, which they didn't come to any conclusion, did they?
That's the point. They did not come to any conclusion. They showed the government. They finally released a lot of these videos that military pilots, for the most part, took over the last several years, and they were this was a couple hundred of these, and they identified one of them as a balloon, and the other one's just like, well, we just don't know. So they're not really saying that they're alien spacecraft. They're just saying we just don't know, and they don't. They don't. Or
So,
at least
so and so they say.
so they say.
Sometimes I see like little flies, or sometimes I see birds in the sky, and then I blink my eyes and they go away.
Well, that's something else. That's called
And my
floaters.
optometrist
That's
told me.
floaters. Yeah. Yeah, I see those birds too.
You see those birds too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, but as far as actual extraterrestrial life, I mean, I saw some science fiction, or not science fiction, some science programs on just how vast the universe is and the galaxies, distance wise. I mean, there is so much out there. Somewhere, way out there is probably far, far away. There's probably another.
I'm sure there's intelligent life out there. There has to
Yeah.
be. There has to be. We cannot be the only one. We're on a minor solar system, on a minor galaxy at the edge of the universe.
Yeah, I believe that too, and we're just not going to get there. You know what I mean? We just
We are
never
not going to
have
get there.
the equipment to get that. And if we keep up what we're doing, we'll probably blow our planet up, and we will be one of the ones that aren't there
Yeah.
anymore. You know
We
what I
won't
mean?
be there.
Yeah, it won't be.
But
there.
you look at the probabilities, and you say it's incredibly far. It's further than you can imagine to get to the nearest star. How could anybody find us? How could they do that? Yeah,
I've given up on that. Yeah, I've kind of given.
But I've been thinking, and I look, and I am now convinced that aliens walk among us. I really am.
You mean the stuff that you see in the movie Men in Black? That crew.
Yes, exactly. I think Men in Black is probably, that's probably a nonfiction movie, actually.
Oh,
Well, maybe, not that bizarre, but, if you just pay attention, every once in a while you see somebody that's just like a little bit off. They're just, something's missing.
I do.
And that
I
person, you
do.
could say, that's an alien. All right. Now,
You know,
I got some names here that I've thought of, and I'd like to hear what you have to think about these guys. First of all, Boris Johnson. He's the Prime Minister of the UK. Okay,
I do. I
look
know
at
him.
look at his hair. Is his hair ever combed? He didn't get the
No.
programming right on it. He's an alien. I'm telling you, he's an alien.
Well, I suppose he wouldn't, he doesn't qualify for Esquire, maybe,
No, I mean, you'd think a guy that's a prime minister of one of the most important countries in the world would know to comb his hair, but no, he's an alien. And you know who his brother is?
who's his brother?
Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
Gary
He's,
Busey.
he's still alive, huh?
He's, believe it or not, he's still alive, and I think he's Boris Johnson's alien brother.
Well, I mean, there are people that we can probably think that they're different enough, but but I don't actually think. I'm
You
trying
know,
to be serious with you, Dave. I don't actually think he came in on any kind of a spaceship. So he's an alien. He's an alien monk because we come from Normalville, right?
well,
And
you come from Normalville.
yeah, I come from Normalville, so
Yeah. Well, I'm going to
so
throw
others.
some other names at you. Now, I'm trying to be serious here.
Yeah, I see you are,
Think
and I'm
about
trying to take you serious, but I'm not.
Think about Steve Buscemi, the actor. All right,
All right,
you know who I mean?
I think I do, but
Okay.
I've had. Give me a what did he do? What is his? What is he
Oh,
famous
geez, he
for?
was in Fargo a long time ago.
Oh, that guy. Yeah. I know.
You know,
I think I thought he was great. I thought
he's a great actor. And after I thought about, he's not an alien. Okay,
hmm.
I think he's not really handsome. Okay, but he's not an alien.
But he plays the parts well.
He's gotten rich by being, the non-handsome guy in the movie or the show. So, hats
he
off
plays
to
a part
Steve.
of an alien. I'm telling you, when it comes to characters,
He could play the part of an alien, but he's not an alien.
All right. Okay.
On the other hand, Willem Dafoe. You know Willem Dafoe, man. He's got a crazy look all the time. That guy's an alien.
I saw him in John Wick. He played an assassin in a John Wick movie.
Okay. See?
So he is
I
scary.
rest my case.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
Have you ever seen the John Wick series? No?
I saw a little bit of it.
I think I've watched the first movie about 20 times, and they're already up to movie 3.
They're up to he gets blown up 17 times.
No, he gets shot off the top of a building, falls a couple of stories, hits an awning, lands on the ground, and he's still alive. And apparently there's going to be a John Wick 4. So I'm going to stand by for that one.
You're waiting for that one. All right.
Oh, man. The carnage in that movie is just nonstop. And his dialogue is like, well, I think I will. That's the way he talks. So
this is Willem Dafoe, or this is
this is no Reeve,
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu
well,
Reeves.
I think that's his natural.
Yeah,
that's him. He's playing himself and everything. He's like
anyhow,
stoned.
Anyhow, these guys are strange.
Still having an excellent adventure or something. I don't know.
We shouldn't title them as aliens. I mean,
I don't think he's an alien. He could be, but I don't know. Here's a couple women I'm throwing out there. I haven't decided on either one of these yet. Tilda Swinton, Tilda Swinton, the actress.
I don't.
Boy, she looks like she could be anything. Really interesting face.
I'm humoring you now. You know that, don't you?
All right, here's one you know. Come on. Miley Cyrus.
Yeah, she's different. She's different.
She could be an alien. She could be an alien. I mean, look, geez, her tongue must be 6 feet long. That's something that they didn't really get right when they adapted her to Earth.
I have not noticed. I did not notice that.
You need to
I
get
think you're overthinking the subject, frankly.
I got a lot of time on my hands. All right, I'm going to give you one more name.
One more name,
One more
please.
name.
That's it.
Elon Musk.
Well, Elon Musk could be trying to get home.
Exactly. Exactly. You have nailed it. He's trying to get home.
He tried to call home and didn't work. So he
It
said,
didn't
"Damn it,
work.
I'm gonna fly there."
EM called home. Yeah. Yeah, that's a strange dude. Now, did you ever see any of these YouTube videos of him dancing? He gets up there to make a speech and they play music and he starts dancing. He he's the world's worst dancer. He's definitely an alien dancer, man. I'm telling you. They're
You
here.
realize with his brilliant creativity and essentially money, he can pretty much do anything he
He
wants.
could do any darn
And
thing
he
he
can
wants.
dance, he can laugh. I think that's why he does some of those skits on Saturday Night Live. He can make fun of himself. He can do all that. I mean,
Yep.
what the
Yep.
heck?
Yep. He just wants to get out of here.
Yeah. He's
He
trying to
wants to
find
get
his
out of
way
here.
back.
He'll be the first one to Mars. Yeah.
And there'll be a big sign, "Welcome, Elon."
Yeah. Welcome home.
Hope he doesn't listen to this podcast because we're not going to invite him on the show anyhow.
So that's anyway. That's my rant on aliens. They
Anyhow,
walk among us, man. They walk
among
among
us.
us.
Listen,
And I'm
I know
not
you.
so sure about you sometimes.
Yeah, well, I've been accused, but I know you do a lot of reading. Why don't you give me an update on some books I can consider?
I do have a book here that I would like to recommend. I just finished it, and it's kind of on this whole alien theme actually, or in a sense. The book's called Probable Impossibilities. Okay, Musings on Beginnings and Endings. Isn't that a great title? This is by Alan Lightman. He's the guy who wrote Einstein's Dreams. You remember in like podcast episode 2
Right.
or something like that. I talked about Einstein's Dreams and I read 2 of the short segments. This is a nonfiction book. It's a collection of essays, and it's on nothingness. It's on infinity. It's on our place in the cosmos. It's really great essays. All right. And I'll just read from inside the jacket. I know this. I have the cover on here, so I know what the book is. I know that troubles you if you.
I know because if
the
it doesn't
cover's
say
gone.
New York Times bestseller,
The cover's gone. Yeah, let me see if this says what on the back. This is not a New York Times bestseller at this time, but he does get a plug by the New York Times. Just a paragraph here. He says, "Can space be divided into smaller and smaller units ad infinitum? Does space extend to larger and larger regions, on and on to infinity? Is consciousness reducible to the material brain and its neurons? What was the origin of life, and can biologists create life from scratch in the labs?" Physicist and novelist Alan Lightman, whom the Washington Post has called the poet laureate of science writers, explores these questions and more, from the anatomy of a smile to the capriciousness of memory to the specialness of life in the universe to what came before the Big Bang. Probable Impossibilities is a deeply engaged consideration of what we know of the universe, of life and the mind, and of things vastly larger and smaller than ourselves.
that's really interesting, and I'm sure our listeners will find it interesting that you can comprehend that stuff.
Oh, it's a great little collection of essays. He talks about, going.
Are you read? Do you read that for the technical data of it, or just the way it's written? You like the way he writes?
Well, the answer is yes. Okay.
Okay.
He attacks some of the basic questions about the universe, and he does it in a way that you can understand it, or almost understand it. Okay. Yeah, he's a great writer. He talks about In one essay, he talks about the infinitely small when you get down to molecules, and then you get down to atoms, and then then you split protons and neutrons into quarks, and it's and he tries to put things into perspective, how big an atom is and how far out the electron is, and it's just fascinating to think about things at this level. And you get down to that subatomic level, and I mean, this is what we're all made out of. Okay, every one of us is made of this stardust, composed of these different atoms.
Don't know why there's no starlight in the sky.
Okay. Anyway,
that's Hoagie Carmichael. He came up with stardust.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to give a book review.
I know you're trying to give a book review.
You're busting my chops
but
here.
No, but that's a technical aspect book. Anyhow,
but
some
look,
listeners may find it interesting.
There's not one equation in this book. Okay, there's no equation. Well, there is E equals MC squared, but that really doesn't count because
you know that I'm going to read a book when I find it. It's called Math Without Numbers. And it's all about I'm serious. It's all about equations and how you figure things out without using actual numbers, like E equal MC squared, something like that,
Well, in theoretical physics, that would be a thought experiment. Okay? Yeah. So you're right there on the cutting edge.
Can I throw in a podcast? I think we might be doing this. There's a podcast on Sunday mornings on BBC about the development and production of the British Spitfire during the war.
Oh.
Remember I was telling you about this? It's a podcast. It's all the intricacies and all the problems they had and how each person came together. 10 episodes to solve the problem. And the whole time they have this plane flying in the background.
Oh, jeez. Really?
Yeah. And I can't tune it out. All I can hear is this engine running all thing.
It's like you already have the
plane off.
Right?
Yeah,
shut the plane off. Oh.
So anyhow, I'm trying to give you a little analogy there. We'll probably droning on too long. I'm sure we'll have to all of Canada's out, and
they're
perhaps
gone.
South America's blacked out already too.
They're
gone. So.
Yeah. Hey, you know what that reminds me of though? It just jumped into my head here. Did I ever tell you the story when I was in London? And I was listening to BBC radio in my hotel room. They were interviewing a fellow who was a World War II British pilot. This was a great story. This is probably.
I think you've told me this story. Is it suitable for a broadcast?
Well, we might have to go to an R rating on this one, but
no,
I'm just repeating.
No.
I'm going to tell you the story.
No.
This is a good story. And imagine this with a British accent. Okay, I can't do a British accent. So the interviewer is interviewing this fellow who was
actual pilot.
He was actually a World War II fighter pilot. Okay, prop planes, of course. And he was describing a dogfight, and the guy says, "Well, just tell us about the most treacherous dogfight you were ever in." And he said, "Well, we were flying over the straits and I looked up and there was a Fokker above me. And I looked down, there was another Fokker below me. And he said, and I looked to my right, there was another Fokker on my right." And the interviewer broke in now and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I think I should explain to you that a Fokker was a German aircraft."
Yeah, like a Henkel or something like that, right?
And and this pilot says, "Well, yeah, that's true, but these fuckers were flying Messerschmitts." This is a true story. I'm just repeating it, man.
My apologies.
I don't know how the mind goes from point A to point B.
I don't know. I'm telling you what's the truth. We went from the universe to what down to earth and
down
beyond.
To earth and beyond.
So is our time up? We about ready to sign off.
It's that bad, huh? I was back at the Gandhi Dancer Saloon again the other night.
Oh, the one you talked about, yeah.
The one I talked about, yeah. And I also did some research. You asked me, well, what's a Gandhi dancer? And I said, well, it's one of those guys on the train back in the old days. Well, that wasn't exactly the right answer. So the Gandy dancer was the guy who laid the railroad tracks, okay, before this was all automated, done by machines, all right? So the Gandy was this 5 foot steel bar, like a crowbar, that was used to align the tracks. And they had this bar, and they kind of, people said they danced around, as they were trying to jog it into place. So that's how they became known as Gandy dancers. So that's just.
Oh, so the Gandy was a steel bar that kept the tracks a certain width.
Yeah, they were trying. They were trying to align the tracks. Yeah, and this was a bar, like a big wedge bar.
So they're dancing around trying to push it together, and
Yeah,
then reset the rails.
they're struggling, and people said, they're dancing. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the Gandy dancer trivia. Anyway, so we were there again the other night. We were with another couple, and we were ordering raw oysters, and
Ooh, how brave!
Yeah, well, it was our start, and we ordered some wines, and of course Nancy, the bartender, was there running the show again. She's the best bartender in the world. So and she brings the wine in individual carafes for each of us, okay? And then she'll pour part of the carafe into your glass of wine, so you've got a little half a glass of wine and a half a carafe of wine, which is it's a cute touch. So during the oystering here, the other woman that was with us, that would be vintage vixen Donna, she grabbed her carafe and took a swig from it, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah. And then she realized what she had done, all right? And she looked around. I mean, she made a mistake always, all right? And this is one where you do something stupid and you look around to see if anybody saw you,
Mm-hmm.
Of course I did. I saw her. And, our eyes locked. And she started sputtering, "Oh, did you see me?" I said, "Yeah, I saw you."
So that's a real faux pas to drink it out of the carafe.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got your. She took a big swig out of the carafe, and not knowing it. Well, anyway.
See, that's interesting. You talk about wine in a carafe, and I'm thinking about Manischewitz in a brown paper bag.
Well, you are a Bull Run guy. Come on.
Yeah.
You were from that end of town.
Oh, my soul.
Yeah, you were from the non-normal end of Normalville.
You just pass it to the next guy.
Yeah. But, we start talking about ethnic foods, and particularly Russian, Ukrainian foods, since, my wife and I both have Ukrainian roots. One of the things we started talking about was holodets, which is a Russian, Ukrainian, you could call it like a cold meat jelly, all right?
Oh.
How you make this stuff is you get pig's feet and chicken legs and some veggies and things, and you just boil it down forever till it turns to goo, all right? So you've got...
I'm sure it's good.
It's good. And then you pour some into a form, and then you sprinkle in some parsley, or I like garlic.
Were you ordering this? Were you
going? No. We were just talking about it. We were just talking about foods that we don't get enough of, and then you put some more on top, and then you put it in the refrigerator, and it kind of hardens up. It's like Jell-O. Okay, think of.
I know.
Think of gray Jell-O.
I can picture it.
It's this stuff. I mean, it looks bad, tastes great. Okay, you've heard that before. It looks bad, tastes great. Anyway, and so the other fellow who was with us, old Buck Paul, is Italian. Okay, and he says, "Oh yeah, we have that in Italy too. We called that cucinini." Nancy comes over to us and she whispers. She says, "Are you talking about genitalia over here?" I said, "No, we're talking about Russian food here, Nancy. Come on, clean her up, kid." But anyway, holodets. I'll put the recipe in the liner notes for you. It's really delicious. It's wonderful.
What can I say?
What can you say? Okay, I think it's time for the old bucks to finish up the coffee, head on out. But I have one more thing to say before we go. This is from Dave Chappelle.
Oh, I'm a fan
Dave
of
Chappelle, best
Dave
comedian.
Chappelle. He's a real creative guy.
He's best on the planet, really, in my mind. And he like everybody else, he followed us, and he's got a podcast called The Midnight Miracle. All right, except you have to pay for his. You can listen to one episode for free, and then you have to pay. But hey, he's Dave Chappelle,
The Chappelle Show. The Chappelle Show.
Yeah. He's not Rick James. I know that. And listen, so this is what he said. I really like this. He said this kind of at the closing of his show. He said, "We never know if it's going to be the time that will make the memory that we'll never forget."
Aha.
Aha.
And with that,
this is Old Buck Dave.
And this is Old Buck Dell with the memory you never know that you might forget.
You forgot already. We never know if it's going to be the time that will make the memory that we never forget.
There we had it.
Adios, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Bye-bye.